Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today is a gorgeous fall day. It got down to like 51 degrees last night. It is still clear and breezy and cool this morning. I don't think we've hit 60 degrees yet. So today's a great day to start making progress on rearranging the front foundation flower beds. So my microphone that I have been using over the past year or so has decided to flake out on me, and I haven't gotten a new one or anything like that. So it's too windy to rely on the camera mic too much. So I'll probably be doing voiceovers for a lot of this, but maybe before I get started working, I'll share with you a little bit of what I have in mind. I'm going to take out these annuals. I'm going to take out the big, huge mahogany splendor hibiscus. I'm going to do something with these annual pots, and then let's take a look over here. I'll do weeding, of course, all throughout. This poor little smoke bush guy, he's totally being dwarfed by these mahogany splendor hibiscus, which are annuals. This hibiscus has a caliper of a trunk that's more than an inch in diameter. That grew from a tiny seed. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful plant. It's just in the wrong spot. I don't like it there. I like the red color there, but I think my smoke bush will give me that red color that I'm looking for, and it's just too big. So that's coming out now. This one's coming out now, and that one's coming out now. I'm going to be pulling the ageratum. If it looks nice, I'll hang it upside down to dry. Let's see, I'm going to, what else in here? I'll cut back the salvias. I'll take out those Mexican petunias. Take out those ageratum over there as well. Maybe deadhead some things, do a lot of weeding. And then there's some salvias back in there by those irises that I want to transplant. I want to transplant these as well because they were a little bit too close together. I don't know, just do some rearranging. And then the holly bushes need to be pruned. They're getting pretty wild and crazy. And so yeah, just general cleanup, just making things look a little bit neater. The black and blue salvias that are here, I love them. They finally started to bloom very prolifically, so that made me happy. But they are right in front of my Miss Kim lilac that's back there. So I don't know if I'm going to keep these here and let them keep blooming for a little bit, or if I'm going to rearrange them or what. I don't know. I haven't decided. So that's the plan for over here. Let's go look at the other side. You can see I've already started over here. I already took out the mahogany splendor. That was right there. And there was one over there too. I took that one out. And I've already cut back the two Blue Fortune agastache. There's one here and one back there. And I cut back the cone flowers as well. I already took out some of the annuals. I've done some weeding, but that autumn joy has to move because the deer keep eating it. There's a barberry right there, orange rocket, that probably isn't getting enough room because of this rose that's in front of it, so I might move that barberry. And then clean up, weeding, rearranging, just generally getting things looking a little bit more neat and tidy. And if I have time and energy, I might do some blowing of the leaves to get things just looking a little bit neater. There's my puppies. There's my girls. They can't come out because the guys are working with the fence open. And then these strawberries, I want to put in one of the terrace beds in the backyard, but I think I'm going to have to wait till that project is done because I want to put them in once and leave them there. So I don't know where that's going to be yet. So, you know, there's just a lot of things. I need to trim down the spireas, take out, when I take that out and when I take that out, it'll really dramatically change the look of things in here. I do still, on my project list, I have to bury these lines and deal with this situation. I want to put it on a post here so that it's not just sitting on a stool, but that's not going to happen today because the crew who are working in my backyard are also going to lift these stones for me and put a pipe underneath the sidewalk so that I can run those lines underneath the sidewalk. So that's not going to happen. Also on the to-do list, take out this mahogany splendor, dig out this stump from the holly that died. There's one of the mahogany splendors that I have already taken out. And then back on this side, again, just cleaning up and rearranging things, making things a little neater. Probably could start cleaning up the walnuts that are all over this walnut tree. The squirrels go up in the branches and they start eating walnuts and then they drop them. And so it's a little bit of a danger zone to stand here with those walnuts there. So that's what's on the to-do list for today. I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to get done, but I'm going to try to make a good crack at it and at least get things weeded and trimmed back. I might not finish rearranging things. I might. I don't know. It depends on how the day goes. Spoiler alert, I didn't get all that done. So come with me and let's get this project started. First things first, let's get these Mahogany Splendor hibiscus out of here and see what else remains to be done. I tackled this huge one branch by branch, and then I had this main trunk to pull out. Needed a shovel for that one because, oh my gosh, what a huge trunk. All that from one little tiny seed earlier in the spring. These other two I dug out by a shovel, and that was fine. I'll just put them back in the compost pile, and I don't know, eventually they'll wind down. Thinking, what next? Alright, so I gotta get these Mexican petunias out of there. They never really did much for me. Alright, now what? I spend a lot of time standing around looking at things. Do you do that when you're in your garden? It takes me a long time to kind of assess and see what needs to be done next. Alright, ageratum. I decided to cut some of the nice flowers for drying and then just pull the rest of the plants. So I have some for drying. I'm going to lay those down separately and then put the plants into the compost pile. Grooming a little bit. I just hang these upside down, tied with a rubber band, and they dry very nicely. I'm going to do the same thing with this clump of ageratum right here. Pulling some off to be dried and the rest into the bin. Alright, now what? I'm looking, what to do. Aha, salvias, I see you. Time to come out. These salvias are Caradonna and May Night, and I trimmed them back, and now I'm looking to see what next. So much thinking time. I stare at my gardens probably half the time I'm out there, it feels like. I decided to just do some weeding, I guess. And that bought me some time to think about what should be next. I'm really looking at those black and blue salvia to try to figure out what to do with them. They're just so big. Okay, so under those black and blue salvia, I found two purple cone flowers. I believe they're the Powwow wild berry variety, so I pulled those two out of there to salvage them. They were really not in a position to thrive back in there. I will be transplanting those again somewhere else. Alright, and next I'm going to look around in there. There's a Verbena bonariensis that had grown from seed. It was a nice big plant, but it was time to move it. Okay, so let's get these two Powwow wild berries into the ground next to the three that I had over here in this little area. So I'm using my auger from Power Planter. I think it's a 3-inch auger. I stand back and I'm looking at it, and one of those new ones that I just put in there is way taller than the other two that are behind it. So I got to fix that. Yeah, that's not good. Although it's hard to see from this angle. But that one I just pulled out there is too tall. So I'm going to move the one from the back into the front and move the tall one into the back, and then I'll feel happier. And that'll give me 5 Powwow wildberry echinaceas all in this area here together. I'm leaving the heads on them because the birds are eating the seeds. But next year, my hope is that they'll grow into even bigger plants, and it'll be a nice big drift of that style of plant. Alright, I'm just taking my Felco 2 pruners and just cutting off these little straggly bits of these holly bushes. Just one stem at a time. I'm not taking head shears to them or anything. This is not a major prune. This is just getting it shaped up a little bit better so that it can spend the winter not looking so ragged. I'll give it a deeper prune next spring. And I'm doing the same thing to these two hollies over here. Just tightening it up, just getting those little loose branches that are sticking up out of nowhere. Just taking care of those real quick. Alright, this is a big stand of tall bearded iris that I haven't yet. Oh, I still have some salvias down there too that I gotta get out of the way. Those need to be transplanted. But these irises need to be cleaned out. The leaves from this season are drying and flopping, so I want to clean this up and make it look a little bit nicer to spend the winter months. I want to show you what I'm doing with these tall bearded iris. This is the time of year that it's really good to trim them back, and if you're going to dig and divide them, this is a great time to do it as well. But I wanted to show you how easy it is to clean them up at this time of year. After the summer is done, the cooler weather has started to set in. These irises have started to push new fans of leaves that they'll use next year. But the old fans from this summer, you can just pull right off. Let me show you. So here's a big stand of tall bearded iris. In fact, I do need to dig these out and divide them. You can see all the rhizomes that are down here. They're very large. They're very tightly compacted. But if you take a look, you can see, like here, this is a leaf that grew in this past summer. But when I pull that off and pull this one off, it reveals that the leaves for next summer have already started to come out. So you can clean up your stand of irises. If you don't plan to dig them up, that's fine. They don't need it every year. Get this tree out of here. I don't need a tree growing under my irises. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to dig that out. Bummer. Okay, well anyway, so as you're cleaning up this old growth, when you grab your handful, you can take last year's growth off as well. And see, it's got next year's growth already started to come out, so you can just pull this year's growth off, clean it up, make it look a lot neater and tidier. And if you do want to dig and divide them, that's fine too. You can leave these leaves on. After you've dug them up and divided them up, you can just replant them, and this will be next year's growth. Or you can trim this down and it will regrow again. If you want to trim them off to right there, it'll send more up. It's smart that way. Anyway, so this is how you can clean up your irises. Okay, so I got those irises all cleaned up. They are so thick in here. This stand of rhizomes is, oh gosh, it's like 2 by 3 feet, just really thick. They definitely need to be dug up, divided, and replanted, but I'm not going to do that today. I have this stand and another one in the garden that I need to do the same chore to, so maybe I'll do those in the same day. Let's see, I've cut back things. I've started to do some weeding. I've discovered some things that I forgot were in here, like these foxglove starts, which I grew from seed this past spring. So we'll have some foxgloves in here in the spring next year. Nice tall, narrow right here, and then they'll come out. I do still have these rose bushes here. I've got my new collection of echinacea. Happy to have 5 of them together here. Over this way, I forgot that I planted some irises here as well. There's 4 little rhizomes in there. Those are the Harvest of Memories yellow irises. So at the end of this season, this lantana will come out and it's not going to be replaced. The barberry, I'll probably leave there until I get a better idea of moving it somewhere else, but I don't know yet. There is a delphinium back in there, and then on this rose tutor, there's a clematis, a Josephine clematis that hasn't bloomed, but it's still alive and starting to put out new growth. So these irises may have to be moved next season, but we'll see. Things are still too crowded in here. I'm working on that, but back in there, I've got some liatris. I had spread liatris clumps all around. There's another one right in there, one there. There's one over there. I'm debating whether I should pull all the liatris together or go ahead and let them just grow into large clumps where they are. I don't know. I think this one right here is probably too close to the rose bush, too close to this azalea. I think I'm going to leave these black and blue salvias in for right now, but they will die back with the frost. So When that happens, I'll cut them back, obviously, and probably move them. I'm not sure where I'm going to move them to. They are perennial here. I just am not sure that this is the best place for them. Behind them, there's a Miss Kim lilac, which is in its first year. It will grow bigger, and I'll be limbing it up eventually. And then over here, there's a peony, an Ito peony. And then there's this smoke bush. And then there's rose bush here, and the spirea, and another rose, and etc. So I don't think that these salvia are nicely placed right now. So I don't know. I'm going to have to think on it. But for today, I think I'm done moving and taking things out. Now I just need to do some weeding in here. And then I'll move on to another section. Well, friends, thanks for tuning in today and watching me as I work on this front foundation. I got a lot weeded. I got some things cut back. I got a couple of things pulled out and a couple of things transplanted, but I have a lot more transplanting to do. I didn't get it all done. I didn't do anything on the north side. It's kind of like when you take a big pile of food at a buffet and then you get back down to the table and you look at your plate and you're like, what was I thinking? My eyes were bigger than my stomach, right? Same thing here. My ideas were bigger than my energy level. So it's lunchtime. I'm hungry. It's time to go inside, eat a bite, take a shower, relax in the afternoon. So, but I did get some weeding done on this south side. I got some major things taken out to make it look a little bit less overgrown or less crowded. And now I can kind of clearly see what I still have in there, and then I can start thinking about how I might want to rearrange things. I am going to try to do a little bit more of big planting blocks, or what do you call them? Drifts of plants that are alike rather than having individuals popped here and there. I think it'll be a little bit more pleasing. Scale will be more appropriate when you view it from the street compared to the size of the house. And just, a lot of things look nicer when they're done in big drifts rather than in tiny little polka dots all across the garden. So I need to think that through a little bit. Of course, I have good plans, but then I get in the moment and I do whatever I'm going to do. So, you're like that probably too, right? Please tell me that you don't follow a plan exactly and then never stray from it, right? I'm not the only one, right? I know I'm not, because you guys have told me that before. Thanks for being my buds in the garden. Thanks for helping me out with your encouragement and your kind comments. I really do appreciate every single comment that gets made. I always learn something from everybody, and I appreciate your kindness and the community that we're building here. I hope you're having a wonderful day in your garden, whether you're tearing things out or putting things in or whatever it is that you're doing. I hope you're having fun. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video real soon, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.